Hi everyone, it's Viktor speaking, and I am here today to share how to plan your 2021. Instead of me telling you what 2021 brings, which I will do in the upcoming weeks as well anyway, just to talk about the planetary influence a little bit. But if you are interested in what is going to happen to you in 2021, then please make these steps what I'm recommending to you, because it is going to be able to help you to plan your year. And one of the things I usually tell my clients as well as my students is that if you honor the planetary alignments, usually they are not bringing you any significant difficulties in your life. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you've got a Saturn square in Venus. Saturn will talk about hard work. Venus will talk about self-worth. So maybe instead of working on the love part of things, on the relationship, you are working on your self-worth, which is always going to be affecting your relationship as well. So I want to be very practical, short and sweet today of how to plan your 2021. Basically, when you do that, you can use transits as one of your first options to see when you will be affected the most. And these will be pretty much related to retrograde planets. So I'm going to share my screen. And what I recommend is basically have this printed out for yourself, which you can find on AstroViktor.com, and then look at it if there will be any retrograde planets which might be affecting you. And then I'm going to walk you through today how to do that step by step. So I usually use Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Pluto the most. You can use Neptune. I don't necessarily recommend using Mercury, because Mercury does go retrograde every 3 to 4 months. So it happens at least 3 times a year. And Mercury retrograde period does not last that long. But when we talk about the big boys, the slow moving planet, they tend to be going retrograde for 4 months. Now, if you are unsure about what retrograde usually indicates, then I'm going to post a link below. Please check out that video, but I talk about what retrograde periods are talking about more in depth. But the retrograde period is all about revisiting a topic. So why is retrograde very important for us? And I'm going to be taking some notes today for you on the screen, so you will be able to follow me. So when there is a retrograde period happening, and then if it hits you 3 times, then it has got a significant event. So for instance, I'm going to be looking at, let's suppose I'm going to be looking at Saturn retrograde period. You can see that Saturn is going retrograde on 13 degree of Aquarius, 2021, and it is going to go back to 6 degree of Aquarius. So clearly, those degrees will be traveled through a few times. And the reason being is because a retrograde period means that the planet is going direct. And then at one point, it decides that I'm going to come back, right? And that's going to be the second motion on those degrees. And then last but not least, when it goes direct, in this case on October the 11th, then it's going to be walking through those degrees again, and then it's going to be leaving those degrees. So what I recommend doing is make a note of that. So let's say I'm going to write down Saturn 13 Aquarius back to 6 degree Aquarius. So we've got those degrees for you. And before actually I show what I usually do with it, I want to explain to you what does it mean when a planet hits you 3 times. So the first hit is going to be when you receive signs of what's coming. Now, each of the retrograde period lasts different period of times. So for instance, Pluto transits can last up to 2 years. Uranus transit can last up to 9 to 12 months. Saturn, Jupiter transits can last up to 6 to 9 months as well. So these are very, very pivotal times for us. So the first is going to talk to you about when you receive some signs of what you have to be working on, what's coming for you. And then you've got the second hit. If you didn't take any action on the first one, then this is usually a reminder. You have to revisit the topic again. You have, because you didn't come up with the proper solution, or you have completely shoveled it under the carpet, or you didn't really take notice of it. So with the second hit, you will receive again a chance to fix that matter. And the last hit is going to be when you didn't take any action, so life kind of forces you now to take action. And I usually say that the third hit is a lot more painful than the previous two. That's something like the peak of the matter. So the reason why I would like you to prepare with this, because when you see the first hit, don't disregard it. Look around what is going on in your life, get ready with it, and then continuously gradually work on those matters. Because believe me, the third hit, you won't feel it that much. And that is the whole idea here. Please remember that with Pluto, Neptune, they can even hit you 5 times. And that's why Pluto transit can last up to 2 years. And I'm going to show you an example as well very shortly. So as we said, Saturn is going to go on retrograde on 13 degree of Aquarius, and then it's going to go back to 6 degree of Aquarius. So what I would like you to do now, have a look where the Aquarius cusp is, and you can see that it's somewhere, in my case, it's going to be the 12th house. And you want to be looking at, if this chart is a little bit difficult for you, then I can actually bring up Astro.com as well, and maybe it's easier to see that. Some people find it hard to follow through my chart, my program, but I'm very used to it. So here you go. So that's the Aquarius house cups. So Saturn will enter the sign of Aquarius somewhere in December, and then it's going to travel up to 13 degree, and then it decides to walk back to 6 degree. So if you have got any planet between 6 to 13 degree, take a note of those. We're going to be working with major aspects here, or I tend to be working major aspect, and here is the order of importance of the major aspects. I would like you to follow those as well. So the first most important one is always the conjunction, followed by opposition. Then we are going to be using square. The last two are trine and sextile. Now, what you need to remember is that conjunction, opposition, and square, more about karmic experiences. So that's something which is trying to make you develop. Trine and sextile are opportunities, but they are not always good opportunities. I made a video about that a couple of days ago, fake trines and fake squares. I recommend watching that because it's going to be easier to put your 2021 together. So that's going to be the order of importance of the planetary alignment. Now, as I said, 13 to 6 degree. So you want to be looking at if you've got any of those planets somewhere between. So I can see that Moon is not affected anymore. Moon will only get hit once, but my Jupiter and Uranus will get hit by Saturn retrograde 3 times. So I'm going to take a note of that. Saturn, sextile, Jupiter, and Uranus. And that's going to happen 3 times. So sextile is an opportunity. So we've got some type of opportunity here. And what you could do is you can have a look at when it's going to be happening, and you can take a note of that. So that's why I opened up my program as well, because it's easier to figure out, but you can go day by day as well on AstroViktor.com, just changing the transit dates. So let's say I'm going to be checking that out. When does that happen? So basically, you're going to be looking at Saturn here, okay, which is on 29 at the moment, and then you will be able to see shifting into the 12th house. So it's on 2 degrees, a month later it's on 6 degrees. So 6, 7, probably that's going to be the first one, which is going to be happening somewhere middle of February. So I'm going to take a note of that. Okay, so let's say I'm going to say 15th of February, the first hit. Very important, because that's where I see some type of opportunities happening. Then I'm going further, and you can see Saturn is on 9 degrees, then moving on, it's on 12 degrees, then it's on 13, and then you can see that it started going back retrograde. So I'm going to be checking out when does that go back to 7 degrees. 9 degrees, 7 degrees, here you go. So now you can see that Saturn is on 7, Jupiter is on 7. So we also have got a sextile, which is going to be in September. So I'm going to take a note of that, somewhere September 15th, let's suppose. That's the second hit. And then I'm going to go, and then now you can see it's on 6 degrees in October. And I'm going to be checking out when is that stepping on to 7 degrees again, when it's going to be sextiling my Jupiter. And that's going to be probably the last one. So it just gone on to 7 degrees again, and that's something to do with towards the end of October. So October, let's put down 25th. So these are the 3 hits Saturn is going to do for me. You can see it is a good 9-month period. Now, it's probably very, very important to do so. As I said, with conjunctions, oppositions, and squares, sextile and trine are going to bring, in my case, some type of opportunities. Now, if you follow this through with every single planet, then you're going to have a clear picture when something might take place. So let's say you do that with Uranus. Uranus is going to go retrograde next year, somewhere around 10 degrees, 14 degrees of Taurus, and then it's going to be going back to 10 degrees of Taurus. So you want to be looking at if there is some planets going on within that. So it's going to be in Taurus somewhere here, and it's going to go back to 10 degrees, 14, 10 degrees. So you can see that those are not really influenced yet, even though I've got 14, 10, so those are not affected as well. So you can see that Uranian transit won't affect me that much. So maybe we can have a look at with Pluto. Pluto is going to go retrograde next year on 26 degrees of Capricorn, and then it's going to go back to 24 degrees of Capricorn. So you again want to be looking at, is there any planet around 26 to 24 degrees? And then you will be able to see that I don't have any. If you are willing to work with asteroids, even fixed stars, feel free. I think the natal chart gives enough information already not to do that, but it's absolutely up to you, because those asteroids and fixed stars are going to be giving us some additional information shortly. So this is one of the major things which I usually recommend to do so. Now, to give you a little bit of an extra idea, you can type in Profection wheel, astrology probably. And if you go on the images, then you will be able to see this here. I hope you can see that though. It's a little bit tiny, but you will be able to find this on Google as well. Now, Profection is a Asian timing technique, which is based on your age. So when you are born, you can see that you are basically 0-year-old. And that house is going to be repeating every 12 years. 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, and so forth. When you turn 1-year-old, that's going to be a second house perfected year. When you move into the second year of your age, then it's a third house, and so forth. So I recommend opening this up and check out how old you are when you are planning your year. And what you should be doing is, I'm going to be 38 years young age, and you can see that it is going to be very much about third house matters. I can see there Chiron already in the third house. So I'm going to have some Chironian experiences next year, but also you must check where the ruler is. And the ruler is in the first house in Pisces. So next year I will be having third and first house events the most. So when you do this little trick with the retrograde planets, you also should focus on that third and first house matters as well, to see how can I correlate those planets, the activated area in your life, with those houses, because that is going to be giving you an additional idea of what is coming. So third house, for instance, is about communication, siblings. That's something to do with your social media channels. That could be something to do with sales, some type of marketing. And because we see a little bit of a Chiron in there, start working on remedies. So what type of communicational blockages, sorry, what type of communicational blockages that Chiron could bring me? How communication can hurt me? So I hope you found this video a little bit practical. Once you have gone through all your, planetary retrograde periods, try to find peaks. What I mean by that is that, let's say Saturn sextile Jupiter is going to be happening in September, and let's say the Uranian influence is going to be happening 3 times as well, and that is going to be once in April, let's say one in September, and let's say one in December. Clearly, the September one is going to be the most important one, because Saturn is activating your chart in September, as well as Uranus. So that could be a pivotal month for you. So I hope that that makes sense for everyone. I'm going to do a yearly forecast, what is coming for you, but I recommend doing this beforehand so that you can actually see which planet is going to affect you the most. So as I said, work with Saturn, Jupiter. Those are the 2 social planets. So a social planet means that whatever is going on in the society, that tends to affect you as well. And then we've got Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, which are very much of a life-changing experience most of the time. Mercury, it can work as well, especially if it hits a natal point in your chart 3 times, but bear in mind it's a shorter period of time. Now, Venus and Mars are quite interesting because they don't tend to be going retrograde that often. So Venus is going to go retrograde approximately every 18 months, and Mars is going retrograde every 2 years. So this year we had already a Mars retrograde season. So therefore, we are not going to be experiencing Mars retrograde in 2021. You can even see that this table says direct the whole year. Okay, but Venus was retrograde somewhere in May. So 18 months later, it's going to go retrograde again, which is going to be happening right at the end of the year around Christmas periods. Okay, so you can have a look at if that is going to be affecting you somewhere between 26 degrees of Venus, and it's probably going to go back somewhere about, I would say, about 13, 14 degree the following year. So you can have a look at if you've got any planets there, because then the Venusian territories can affect you. And don't just think about what, let's say, Venus means, what area of lives she rules in your chart, because those might be affected as well. Well, I hope, guys, it was something useful. Have a fantastic 2021. Let's hope it's going to get a lot better than 2020 was. And if you need a little bit of a guidance on how to prepare yourself for 2021, then give me a shout, drop me an email, and we can schedule an appointment. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.